Hello, I'm Krishna Wag from Department of Sociology, KTHM College, and I will be conducting this lecture on qualitative research. So, what is qualitative research? It is a means for exploring and understanding the meaning of individuals or groups to ascribe to a social or human problem. By that, we mean that qualitative research is usually conducted when one wants to know about perspectives, feelings, opinions about the people or participants. So, quantitative research cannot be used to capture these aspects of a research. Hence, qualitative research, which uses methods of observation, interview, or audiovisual methods, it is used to capture this sort of in-depth data that cannot be captured, say, by quantitative research, which uses surveys or schedules to capture very statistical data. So when one wants to research on a topic such as opinions about gender or opinions about the news or anything like that, or the political feelings of people or political opinions that people may hold, so one uses qualitative research because that ensures that a person in his immediate surrounding or in an interview technique will be able to convey the information that is required for the research. So, qualitative research involves inductive analysis. By inductive analysis, we mean that the researcher will try to gather the data first and then try to generalize it to a certain theory. So, the data collection comes primarily, and then secondarily, the generalization of theories or themes can be identified. In inductive analysis, the process is from data to theories as opposed to deductive analysis, which goes from establishing a theory first and then trying to understand it through data or substantiating it with data. So, inductive analysis would ensure that one collects data first, is flexible with the data so as to a certain themes are emerging, and then will make a conclusion about it. It also involves interpreting the meaning of data. So, because people assign certain or varied meanings to the language they speak or certain symbols that they use or the situations around it, for example, they will assign certain meanings to them. So, the data that is collected through, say, interviews or observations, one has to interpret the meaning behind it. So, a researcher under qualitative analysis or qualitative research will try to interpret the meaning that the people assign to certain things or certain problems around them. Now we will see the characteristics of qualitative research. First is that it is conducted in a natural setting. By that we mean that the researcher will personally be involved in the process. He will go to the place where participants are located, where the situation or the event that he wants to study is located, and then he will try to observe it or interview the participants or collect the data that is required through various means. In a natural setting, one can get very in-depth observations and very in-depth data, and that is what makes qualitative research so dense. When the data that is collected from the natural setting without any artificial processing over it, the data that is collected becomes very much natural and objective in a way, because the data is personally collected. The researcher's personal presence in the field ensures that the data is collected and there is a validity and reliability to it. Second is the role of researcher. By the role of researcher, we mean that the researcher, since he's present in the setting to collect the data, the researcher will influence the setting in a certain way. His role, his interactions with people will impact the data that he is collecting, he or she is collecting, and hence that will become the part of the research itself. So his participation in the field, his interactions with the people, his interactions with his immediate surroundings will signify the way the research is being conducted. Third is multiple sources of data. So characteristics of it is a important characteristics of qualitative research, where because qualitative research ensures that a lot of data needs to be collected to ensure the validity of the data. So because people are collecting information about perspectives, about opinions, about feelings, about various different things that cannot be captured through quantitative data. The one requires that multiple sources of data be used, such as observation or interview schedules or just audiovisual material. So all this becomes part of the data, and various methods need to be collected to get a very comprehensive view about the research. Then centering participants becomes another characteristic. Centering the participants ensures that the participants become the main focus of the research. By centering the participants, we mean that the participants data collected from the participants becomes very paramount to the research. Whatever data is being collected from the participants through observation or interview or just a case study, it becomes a very much process that will focus on the participants and what meanings they assign to their surroundings, what their perspectives about their situation is, or the problems, or their interactions with other people. It becomes the primary focus of the research. It does not take away the attention from the participants, and qualitative research mainly focuses on the participants, unlike quantitative research which uses data as a very statistical tool. It does not give the in-depth quality to the data, and hence centering participants becomes one of the main features of qualitative research. Then it focuses on flexible emergent design. So flexible emergent design means that the research design needs to be very flexible. It cannot be rigid under qualitative research. Under qualitative research, the entire process that we plan from the beginning of the research as to how we collect data, what method should we use, what sample size we should use, that becomes very flexible as one participates in the process. It is a dynamic process. A researcher may interview someone and realize that a question is not being answered or makes the participant very uncomfortable. So he will try to change the question in a certain different way, or he will try to use another method to obtain the same information. That means that there's a flexibility involved in the process. It ensures that the participant's well-being is being focused again. It means that the participant is being put into the center, and also that design needs to be flexible to ensure that the data that is being collected is very comprehensive. So as a researcher participates in the process, the design also needs to be adjusted according to the findings or according to the data that is being collected. It cannot be entirely pre-planned and in a very rigid way. It needs to have a certain amount of flexibility. Then we'll come to reflexivity, which means that since a researcher becomes part of the field, he's present in the moment, in the natural setting. He's interacting with the people. He's interacting with his surroundings. He's observing the surroundings as a participant and as an observer. It ensures that the process is being influenced by him in a certain way. For example, in anthropological studies, usually Western anthropologists have gone to very abandoned islands or tribal islands to study the tribals. Point is that their presence itself becomes a point of contention when the researcher is trying to conduct a study in a say tribal area which is not exposed to a urban lifestyle or the urban way of thinking which the researcher might take along with him. It will create a curiosity amongst people, or it may just antagonize or become very hostile to the process. So a participant becomes very much aware of the researcher amongst themselves, and they will tend to indirectly or directly influence the data collection process. So the reflexivity also means that the researcher is aware of all these things and then tries to collect data. Being aware of his presence in the field, he will try to collect data. Second point of reflexivity is that once that the data is collected, the researcher will try to objectively interpret the data. He will not try to push forward his perspectives about the data. He will try to understand it from the point of view of data collection and not as from a point of view as a researcher. The researcher becomes is aware of his own perspectives, is aware of his own limitations, and will be aware of what meanings he or she is assigning to the entire research process. So reflexivity will ensure that the person, the researcher, becomes very much aware of his involvement and will try to adjust it to make sure that the research becomes as objective or as value neutral from his perspective as possible. Next is holistic account. So qualitative research, because the nature of qualitative research is to capture data that is not being captured in a very statistical format. What it will do is that it will try to capture vast variety of information and condense it. So a very comprehensive holistic picture can be acquired through qualitative research, because there are certain aspects that cannot be captured from statistical data, from numbers, or through quantitative methods. Qualitative research uses variety of methods, uses various sources, becomes much more interactive and dynamic, and manages to present a very holistic account of the entire research project. So that becomes a very good part of what qualitative research is, and it manages to make sure that there is a lot of data that can be utilized for the research. Next is types of data used in qualitative analysis. So as we mentioned that there is a method that is being used to capture very small nuances that are present in our society. Qualitative analysis uses observation. Observation would ensure that the researcher is part of that field. He goes to a certain setting, watches or observes people and makes notes about it. Not just the people, but he also observes the surroundings, the way things have been constructed, or the way things have been presenting themselves in front of him. He will be observing the event or situation, and he can do it as a participant observer or as a non participant observer. By participant observer, it means that the researcher will actually be participating in the event himself while he is conducting the observation. For example, if a researcher is trying to observe a riot or a protest, he will be participant into that, not just in the riot, not as a participant in the riot, but he will be present in the protest to observe what is happening around him. That is a participant observation. Non-participant observation will mean that the researcher will be aloof from the observation situation. So he will be away from the situation that is being observed. Or, for example, a researcher, as he's covering a protest or observing a protest, he will be observing it from a distance, or he will be observing while not interacting with the participants. He will be just observing it. While participant observation will mean that he will be uh, conducting the observation while interacting with the people who are participating, or who will be involved in the protest as such. Then there is an interview. Qualitative analysis heavily relies on interview as a type of data, because interviews gives people a lot of narratives, a person's history, a person's background, which cannot be captured in a quantitative research, can be captured in a qualitative method. An interview provides just that. If an interview provides an opportunity for the researcher to interview, to adjust, to get very much comprehensive data about a person individually and also in a group setting. Next is qualitative audio-visual materials. This means that under qualitative data methods, you can also use pictures, or you can also use various methods like audios or visuals or videos, documentaries, such visual material, even photographs, or say graffiti on the walls. It can be used to conduct a qualitative research, and it becomes part of the qualitative research analysis, where all this data can substantiate meaning to what is being observed or what is being interviewed. For example, a researcher, while he's interviewing a certain person in a certain setting or in that participant's house, he will observe the pictures hanging on the wall, the type of TV he has, and what he's listening to while the interview is being conducted, the kind of songs that are being played. Such data can also substantiate qualitative research, and hence it is a very crucial part of how the data gets collected. Next is qualitative documents or public documents. So one of the aspects of qualitative analysis is that the data that is being collected is not just observable, but it has also been established. For example, qualitative documents means that a person's case study, a person's documents that are already in the public space, or newspaper articles, books, novels. It will be useful in conducting a qualitative analysis. The themes that are generated from all these mediums or documents, they also help establish a certain uh, qualitative research purpose. For example, newspapers, if an analysis of newspapers is conducted, a certain theme might emerge over the years, and it will help contribute a background understanding to the situation or to the purpose of the research. Hence, qualitative documents or public documents are also used in qualitative analysis. Next is we will see what qualitative audiovisual materials contain and what are the types of materials that we can collect through audiovisual medium. So first is that photographs and videotapes. These are the most obvious ones, and they can be analyzed and interpreted in different ways. A researcher can obtain photographs of, say, if he is conducting research in an urban setting, he will be taking photographs of roads or the architecture or the way the buildings are built or the parks, etc. All these things will contribute towards his research. He can analyze these photographs over the years and establish a pattern of development that is emerging, for example. So, photographs and videotapes contribute to qualitative analysis, and it can be done using all the visual methods of photographs or videotapes. Next is having participants take photographs or videotapes and then interview with them about the materials. In this method, the researcher hands over the camera or the recorder to the participant and asks the participant to collect data for him, and then he gets to, after the data is being collected, after the participant records whatever he wants to, or audio tapes whatever he wants to, he can then interview this person, ask him about why certain pictures were taken, why certain audio was recorded, because it signifies what this person, participant, holds important as well. So, this is just one of the examples of how audio visual methods can be useful in constructing a narrative or researching in the qualitative analysis. Next is examining physical trace evidence like footprints in the snow. So this method is largely used in observation method. In under observation method, you witness your surroundings, you identify certain things. For example, in Indian settings, one might see if a survey on, say, Swachh Bharat is being conducted, one might see that a certain place is, in a public place is always designated where there's garbage. So one might observe that garbage, how frequently it is being discarded over there, how frequently it is being collected. All these things will contribute towards the understanding of qualitative research under Swachh Bharat. This becomes part of a survey method. It becomes part of a qualitative analysis. It leaves behind a physical evidence, and that is what is more helpful or gives context to the data that we collect otherwise. Then a videotape or film a social situation or an individual or group. So this is very useful in anthropological studies where one wants to research into certain traditions, certain events, or certain situations that arise time over time. So what a researcher might do is that, for example, if the researcher wants to focus on changing patterns of marriage or weddings or the rituals that are happening in rural or urban settings of India, he will document it through a visual method, or he will document it in a audio method and try to understand what differences emerge. So it becomes very useful in understanding traditional aspects of research and traditional aspects of society. It can help understand or give greater context, and it becomes part of a documentation process that can be curated later on. Then qualitative audio material also uses internet as a very substantial tool to understand research. So one might go on internet, one might examine websites. One researcher, when collecting data, can also heavily use internet to gather data on certain websites, how websites are being constructed, what kind of content is being presented on these websites. For example, the researcher, if he wants to study the social media, for example, he might analyze places like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or WhatsApp. All these methods or social media tools can be used to gather information. For example, a researcher wants to know how ICT technology is being used in government services. So first he will go on internet and see government websites that are up and all, and then he will try to analyze the content that is being presented on these websites and see how updated they are. So this just becomes an example of how research can be conducted using just the content online, and it substantiates to qualitative research. Then another aspect is to collect sounds like musical sound, a child's laughter, cars honking. This is a very good example of how qualitative research has a variety of methods to use while conducting a research. So if a researcher is uh, analyzing the traffic in a certain area and what its impact is on mental health of the people living in a very heavily trafficked road, he will try to analyze the sounds as well. He will analyze how sounds are impacting sleeping patterns of these people and how it impacts their functioning later on. This becomes a very good example of how even the sounds or smallest nuances that a person faces in society can be used to substantiate data and captures certain aspects of that data. So collecting sounds becomes a good example of how research can be substantiated with certain findings. This is also a method to curate certain data, for example, folk songs, folklore, or emerging trends or genres uh, in music industry. This all can be analyzed using qualitative analysis. One will need to collect data about it, one will need to collect sounds about it, and hence it will help analyze certain patterns in your research. Then collecting email messages, discussion board messages, forms of electric communication. So this becomes part of analysis of digital aspects of analysis. So a researcher who wishes to see how communication has changed over a period of time will try to analyze these messages, or even if the messages are pertaining to something else, pertaining to, for example, how people perceive gender, for example, these messages people send to each other or discussions they have on online forums or anywhere else, they will be very helpful in understanding and analyzing this content. So one will need to collect all this data, and then one can analyze what is being said. So emails, electronic form of messaging or communication, becomes an important part of collecting data as well. Then examining possessions or ritual objects. So this is also a part of becomes a very important part of anthropological study, where, for example, a totem needs to be studied. What importance or what significance the totem has for the people around it, what for that community, it becomes an important part. So a researcher will try to observe. Will try to handle the possessions a person has, will try to see what significance it holds for the person. He will try to analyze the symbolic meaning of these objects, and it becomes part of the audiovisual material that can be used for qualitative research. Then collecting sound, smell, taste, or any stimuli of the senses. So Essentially, in conclusion, if you had to, if a researcher had to define audiovisual material, it means that anything that can be sensed or perceived by the observer can be used as part of your qualitative audiovisual material. It can involve a smell, it can involve a sound, it can involve any sort of sense or touch or feeling of the material that is being under research. So this becomes a very good part of comprehensive data building. So qualitative research, because it relies on creating a very holistic, complex picture of the research, it involves these kind of materials to be used. It gives an opportunity to researcher to use all these materials to ensure that a comprehensive, very complex way of research is being done, and it becomes a part of that research. These are the references. Please ensure that you refer to John Creswell's research design, qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method approaches.